If I told you that your most natural reaction in a conflict is precisely what guarantees your defeat, pay close attention, because you are about to unlearn everything you know about power. There is an instant, a silent, split-second decision you make when someone confronts you, imputes something to you, challenges your worth, and in that instant, the average person does what they have been conditioned to do. They defend themselves. I didn't mean that. You misunderstood me. I swear I'm not like that. It seems noble, reasonable, but for Machiavelli it's the moment you lose everything. Because in the second you defend yourself, you admit that you are weak enough to need to do so. And in power games, perception is reality. If they see you hesitate, they don't see a victim, they smell prey. This is the implacable law that Machiavelli understood. The man who defends himself degrades himself. The man who doesn't forces the world to defend him. If you understood this initial trap, pay attention, because now we're going to see why this happens. Defending yourself rarely convinces. What it does is transfer power away from you, because when you justify your actions, you're playing on their field. You're accepting their framing. You're saying you have the authority to question me. And once they have that, they own the narrative. Even if you're right, you seem guilty, because only the weak rush to explain. The strong let the silence burn, let the accusation float in disarray, because they know that the real game is this: to turn the accusation into a mirror, make them doubt themselves, make them seem emotional, obsessed, unstable. Whoever speaks first often loses control of the framing, and Machiavelli knew that whoever controls the framing controls the outcome. Most defend themselves because they want to be understood. They believe that if they just explain enough, they will be vindicated. But this belief comes from emotional weakness, not strategy. You don't want clarity. You want control. Clarity is for therapy. Control is for power. And power doesn't come from being understood. It comes from being feared, respected, and untouchable. So when someone calls you arrogant, cold, selfish, and you immediately say, "No, you don't understand. You've already lost. Now you're reacting. Now you're proving you care. Now you've put the ball in their court." And when you do that, you give up the most Machiavellian thing you possess: mystery. Think of the most powerful people you've ever met. Not the loudest ones, but those who wielded silence as a weapon. Those who made you doubt yourself with a look. Those who, when attacked, never wavered. Machiavelli would tell you this: he who explains submits. He who remains silent forces others to fill in the gaps. And they often overestimate you. That's the game. When you don't react, they become uncomfortable. They begin to doubt their own words. Suddenly their power shrinks while yours expands. Because you did the one thing no emotional person can handle. You made them talk to themselves. That's how you flip the power. You let their barracks-like behavior die in the echo of their own weakness. Now, let's apply this to a real-life scenario. Keep watching to see how this weapon works in public. You walk into a room. Someone throws a veiled insult. Everyone turns to see what you're going to say. And this is your move. Say nothing, no defense, no retaliation. Just calm and total immobility. At that moment, you are untouchable, because everyone in the room is now forced to ask, why didn't he react? Does he know something we don't? Is he above it? You just flip the entire social framework. Because people aren't watching the accusation, they're watching your response in the silence. When delivered with presence, it speaks louder than any justification. Machiavelli knew this. He studied psychology and he understood one thing better than anyone. Power is not in what you say. It's in what people believe you could say, but choose not to. But what if silence isn't enough? The coldest move is yet to come. Sometimes you don't just ignore the accusation. You turn it around. Someone calls you manipulative. Smile, look past them and say, if that's how you see it. Not defensively, just a cold detachment. What happens? They stumble because they were expecting a fight. Instead, they're left holding their own weapon. That's when guilt sets in on their side. They start wondering if they crossed the line, if they're ashamed, if they seem insecure now. And they seem to. You just took the energy they threw at you and made them carry it, without lifting a finger. There comes a point when the silence becomes unbearable for those who expected a reaction. That's when the game changes. They thought they were the accusers. Now they are exposed as those begging for attention. And you have become something far more powerful than innocent. You have become untouchable. Machiavelli understood something most will never comprehend. Words do not serve to clarify the truth, but to obscure it. And when someone attacks you, they want you to fight against the fog. They want to drown you in explanations because the more you explain, the less certain it seems. Instead, let them fill the silence. They exaggerate, repeat themselves, begin to seem desperate. But now, they are the ones on trial, because the crowd isn't listening to what's being said. They're observing who's calm and who's shaken. That's social power, and it doesn't come from being right. It comes from being untouchable. Pay attention to how this applies in professional and personal environments, because here the tactic becomes even more dangerous. In a business meeting, someone humiliates. I'm not sure if that strategy was well thought out. They want you to take the bait. Most people lean in, explain, prove it, and get nervous. The room smells it, but the Machiavellian operator leans back. He waits, maybe gives a slight smile. And if he speaks, it's not a defense, it's a redirection. Let's hear your strategy then. Now the attacker has to perform. The room turns. Suddenly they're being evaluated, they're under pressure. The silence of someone who trusts is an unspoken accusation. In relationships, it's even more powerful. Your partner says, "You don't care about me anymore." The average person panics, validating the emotional framing. The Machiavellian approach is different. You don't argue. You let the weight of the accusation hang. Then calmly, you respond. "That's not how I see it." Short, firm, without explanation. Now they feel uncertain. They question their own tone. You held the power over the emotional rhythm, and whoever controls the rhythm controls the framing. There's an even colder tactic. And if you understand this, you'll be at an elite level. Don't just remain calm when accused. Disappear. Someone insults you? Don't reply. Don't respond. Don't acknowledge it. Let your absence sit like a mirror. Let them sit in the silence of being ignored. It breaks them. They realize you didn't even consider them worthy of a response. They start spinning internal narratives, destroying their own composure. Why? Because the average person thrives on emotional validation, even in conflict. If you take that away, they wither, they spiral, they try to bait out a response, and with each new attempt, they seem weaker, more obsessed, all while you remain perfectly still. And that's where you win. Not because you proved something, but because they destroyed themselves trying to get a reaction from you. Instead of defending yourself, make their accusation seem like a sign of weakness. Someone calls you arrogant? Strange how confidence makes people uncomfortable. Someone says you're manipulative. Only people who can't be influenced say that. You don't deny the accusation, you turn it into their insecurity. And now, they are the ones struggling to defend themselves. It's not a reversal. It's a judo move of power. You use their strength and turned it into your collapse. Machiavelli would call this the turning of the blade. Don't meet the sword with a shield. Let the aggressor fall on his own weapon. The world teaches you to defend your reputation. But Machiavelli saw the trap. He knew that the moment you pursue innocence, you admit guilt. The true strategist never plays that game. Instead, he appears too composed to be shaken, too elevated to care. And slowly, those who try to bring him down begin to appear unstable, reactive, envious. Because the more you defend yourself, the more it seems you need to. But the more you ignore them, the more dangerous they presume you are. And that presumption is where power is born. Most people think power is about proving yourself, proving you're right, that you're not what they say. But Machiavelli would smile disdainfully at that, because the second you try to prove anything, you've already declared the other person's judgment valid. And when you give someone that validation, you hand them your leash. Let's visualize the scene. Stay with me for the final execution. You're in a group. Someone throws a public barb. You always act like you know everything. Most people tense up, try to laugh, or worse, respond with an explanation. What they're really doing is confirming that the blow hit its target. Everyone watches the defense, and that makes the barb seem real. Here's what the Machiavellian does. Pauses, remains silent for 2 seconds, scans the room with a look, with silent amusement. Then, if necessary, offers something calm, precise, and disdainful. You seem emotional today. The aggressor shifts, becomes restless, seeks support. He feels the heat of the room shifting to him. Because your lack of reaction has just told the room something louder. You are not the one on trial. They are. In the digital arena, things escalate even faster. Comments, posts, exposés. Here's the truth. In the court of public opinion, silence denotes guilt, unless your silence commands fear. When attacked online, don't defend yourself. Don't explain, distort. Someone says you're toxic. Instead of a tearful defense, you post. People always call you dangerous when they can't control you. You didn't defend yourself. You reframed the accusation as a badge of power. Now they seem bitter. You seem impassive, and the public begins to question who is in control. This isn't damage control, it's narrative dominance. There are 3 tools you can use instead of defending yourself. The pattern leaves them exposed. Deflection reframes the narrative. Precision cuts. Short, sharp truths, someone says. You're full of yourself. Respond. Confidence disturbs the insecure, they say. You're fake. I don't owe you authenticity, they say. Do you think you're better than everyone else? Respond. No, I just don't think like everyone else. These aren't defenses, they're status assertions, they say. You can't touch me. And that's the crux of it. The Machiavellian never begs to be seen as good. He challenges people to see him as evil and walks more haughtily because of it. When you refuse to defend yourself, something happens to your enemies. They become unbalanced because they expected a battle and are instead throwing smoke. They escalate, push harder, become more dramatic. And the more they do that, the higher you rise. Why? Because you made them execute their own collapse. And that's the Machiavellian endgame. You don't destroy your enemies. You let their obsession with you destroy them. You think being misunderstood is dangerous, but being predictable is far worse. The misunderstood man has mystery. The predictable man is easy to manipulate. People who are always trying to clarify things are seen as desperate. People who remain calmly misunderstood are feared. Machiavelli knew this. It is better to be feared than loved. But even more so, it is better to be confusing than predictable. Let's crush the final illusion. You don't need a good reputation to win. You need a strong reputation. The man with a good reputation is expected to be agreeable. The man with a strong reputation is not always liked, but no one dares to move against him casually. That's what happens when you never defend yourself. Your reputation becomes not about what people believe, but about what they fear you will do next. That's how you turn the tables on power. You stop fighting for approval, and instead it creates an aura that makes people cautious. The ultimate evolution is not silence, it's the aura. A presence so composed, so secure, that accusations evaporate before they land. This doesn't come from being emotionless. It comes from being imperturbable by design. Because once you've trained yourself not to defend, not to explain, not to seek validation, you cross a line where your existence becomes the defense. And that's where power becomes effortless. Think of the few people who never explain themselves. They don't post rants, they don't argue. And yet people respect them more. Why? Because silence in the face of accusation creates a myth, invites interpretation, and the human mind fills the void with force. People assume you must be dangerous, that you know something they don't. That assumption is what makes people follow you. Machiavelli didn't care about being good, he cared about being in control. Here's the ultimate paradox, the key to social leverage. The more you explain yourself, the more alone you seem. But if you remain calm, impassive, people feel the urge to defend you. They say, that was unnecessary. He didn't deserve that. Suddenly, he becomes your shield. And what's better than defending yourself? Letting others do it for you without asking. That's Machiavellian leverage. Let the crowd defend your cause while you remain above the noise. Now, you're not just respected, you're elevated. This doesn't happen overnight. You build it like a fortress. Start here. Never correct insults meant to provoke. Use short closing phrases. Noted. Time will tell. Each one closes the door. Study how you maintain your face, your body, your immobility, and your armor. And the more immobile you are while others lose control, the more your power expands. When people don't know how to provoke you, they fear you. You become illegible, a mirror reflecting their instability. Machiavelli would say, the most dangerous man is not the one who attacks first. It is the one who never needs to. You will reach a point where the attacks cease, not because you fought them, but because people know they will lose before they even begin. Your presence says, I don't play defense. I let others destroy themselves. There's a difference between strength and immunity. Strength still reacts. Immunity doesn't even acknowledge the blow. That's the Machiavellian ideal. You don't win the argument, you end it before it begins, by never having to respond. When you no longer defend yourself, people stop seeing you as someone to be judged. You've moved beyond the court of public approval, and the only judgment that matters is your own. From this point on, you don't live defensively. You live in definition. You define your image, your tone, your silence, and people feel it. The certainty in your eyes, the calmness in your posture, the danger in your stillness. You're no longer resisting, you're commanding, and that's when the room changes. The crowd speaks less. Your enemies grow quieter. Your name carries weight, not because you fought for it, but because you never explained it. If you've made it this far, if you've traversed each word and felt its weight, you are not merely a spectator. You are a survivor of the incessant noise that teaches us to beg for validation. You looked into the abyss of others' perception and did not retreat. I recognize you. Know that even in this silence, your inner journey has already begun. The seed of stillness has been planted. The decision to no longer justify yourself is germinating somewhere deep within your consciousness, and it will not die. Therefore, I invite you to a symbolic act. Not for the algorithm, not for the numbers, but as a seal of your understanding. If this message resonates with you, comment below with the phrase, "My stillness is my answer." This is not a comment, it's a silent declaration. A reminder to yourself that you no longer need to engage in battles that don't serve your power. And by subscribing to this channel, you're not just clicking a button, you're joining a fortress, a place where we declare that we are ready to carry the weight of our own aura, instead of seeking relief from the approval of others. On this channel, there are no polished mirrors to reflect what you want to see. There are only fragments of naked truth, the kind most fear, but which is the only one that can truly set you free. Each video you find here is not entertainment, it's a key, and each key opens a door to a room that already exists within you. Go now, and let your silence be your definition, not your defense.